After 29 goals in 68 games that saw him become the nation's highest goal scorer ever in the history of Gabonese football, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, now of Barcelona, has decided to call it quits from national team football. And you have to give the 32-year-old his props when it comes to national team duties. He was able to take the Gabonese all the way to the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations when they hosted several years ago. It's on that note I say good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the show. It promises to be exciting. I'm Samson Oloide and I'm not doing this alone. I've got with me Olalekan Adebayo to discuss football matters and more. Olalekan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Always a pleasure to be on the show.
Always a pleasure. Chelsea drew against Leicester City. That's seemingly inconsequential. But Aston Villa at Villa Park against Burnley, that's the big one. 1-1 it ended. Burnley getting a vital point that saw them get out of the relegation zone. What do you make of the performance from Burnley?
I think they were resilient because they needed a win, but at least they'll settle for a point because that point is a very important point for their staying out of relegation.
Looking at the table, the Premier League table, you have 37 points from 5 points rather from 37 games for Leeds United, 35 points as well from 37 games for Burnley. But Burnley are sitting 17th because they have a superior goal difference, minus 18 for Burnley, minus 38 for Leeds United. It's as good as, they simply need to match Leeds' result. And But for yesterday, you think Aston Villa will be disappointed they didn't get all 3 points?
Maybe they might, but it's not like they're chasing
European football, yes.
So they'll be okay with the points. I'm sure they'll be okay. It's Burnley that will have. They wish they would have gotten the 3 points.
All 3 points.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about Goodson Park. The drama we witnessed at Goodson Park. It must be said the fallout of Patrick Vieira's outburst on that particular fan is being investigated by the police, and that's what has overshadowed what a remarkable comeback Everton dished out yesterday. But Everton 3-2. There were 2 goals down at halftime. It seemed like they were dead and buried, and relegation was just right there at their faces. But 3 second half goals, they ended up winning the match and confirmed Premier League football for next season. Frank Lampard did the magic.
Yes, he did. You could, and the players also. You could see their fight. They two goals. Another team will have given up. That okay, probably we just have to go for our last match or something. But no, they stayed in the match. They had some kind of belief in the second half. Though the first half they were not too good in the first half. So in the second half they stayed in the match and they were very resilient. And it was mind blowing because I never expected it. Also seeing it was very good, and it's a very good part of football.
Goals from Michael Keane, Richarlison, as well as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Injury worries. Do you think it also affected them at some point? Dominic was out injured, Richarlison all through the season.
Especially Calvert-Lewin, it really affected them this season because I think last season Calvert-Lewin had a lot of goals for them, and Richarlison going out, Calvert-Lewin going out, so it really crippled the team. At some points, they really looked like they were not a formidable team at all compared to seeing them last season. I think going forward, I think that's what they want to manage, bring out a very good replacement for these guys, probably next season.
And as you can see on the screen, we had the fans trooping in their numbers at the end of the final whistle. It was an invasion. I'm sure the Premier League will find Everton for that, but Everton won't be bothered about the fight that will come from that invasion. The fans were all happy. You could see them on the pitch hugging the players. Everyone just showing that gratitude that there's still Premier League football at Goodson Park for another year at least. But Patrick Vieira and that particular fan is what overshadowed the entire game. Do you think that was born out of frustration, or the fan also went overboard?
Of course, the fan went overboard with the regulations and the rules of not entering into the field, but
and probably mocking him, shouts.
But of course, every coach at that point will be frustrated.
Exactly.
Leading to goals, it's something that you get very angry at. So it just I would like to say transfers aggression on the fan at that point.
Okay, let's move away from club football now and talk about the Mundial, the biggest one, coming up in November. That's the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Surprisingly, for the first time ever, FIFA has selected 6 referees to officiate, 6 female referees, I beg your pardon, to officiate at the men's top game. And 3 of them as center referees, the other 3 as assistant referees. For France, you have Stephanie Frappart, who will be, who once officiated the UEFA Super Cup. She would be one of the first, female referees to officiate at the World Cup. You also have Rwanda's own Salina Mukasanga, who officiated at the just concluded African Cup of Nations won by Senegal. She will be there as well. You also have Japan's Yashima Yamashita, also another center ref. Again, this is quite impressive. 3 women who have broken barriers when it comes to officiating in football. Japan's Yamashita definitely has several records in Asian football. The same thing with Stephanie Frappart, as I said, officiated at UEFA Super Cup, and now Africa's own Rwandan lady, Mukasanga, also in the mix. This is quite commendable. Hopefully, it is not an exception, but a norm going forward.
Yes, I looking at least I was able to watch the Super Cup and looking at how she refed it. It's not just because we want females in. It was because she was good. Yes, so I see this as an inspiration for all females that are thinking, okay, I think the football are for guys. We can't really break into it. Yes. So this is a very good inspiration for them, and I'm very happy for them.
And this would, bring about more women into officiating, in football, because you have more men than female in terms of the numbers.
Yes, of course. Of course, you have more men, because I think men are more interested in football than ladies. So the females that are interested, one or two of them that are interested are the ones that show this kind of passion for it. And as long as they are taking on merit, I think it will be a welcome
development. Okay, so the 3 referees there who make the women proud when it comes to officiating, and you can be rest assured that they are tough, especially Yamashita, who Yamashita, who has a pedigree of being very tough. In fact, they call her Iron Lady in terms of Japanese football and Asian football as a whole. She's very, very tough in applying the rules. The same thing with Stephanie Frappart, who we saw, as I said, at the UEFA Super Cup and has officiated several French Ligue 1 matches, not forgetting Rwanda's own Salima Mukasanga, who officiated during the African Cup of Nations as well. So the other 3 women who will be officiating at the Qatar World Cup as assistant referees are, you have Karen Diaz Medina of Mexico, you have Noeza Bach of Brazil, and Catherine Nesbitt of the United States. All 3 of them would be assistant referees at some point. So let's see, you never can tell. Depending on how they fare, you can even have a woman officiate the final or the semi-final, and that would definitely be a good, spot, really.
Of course.
Now let's delve into the sports business news. And German automaker Opel is pulling out of football sponsorship, thereby relinquishing its deal with Bundesliga giant Borussia Dortmund. With a near-decade-long relationship in total, Opel currently serves as Dortmund's sleeve sponsor and sits in the club's champion partner tier. That deal is worth a reported €8 million a year. Dortmund are already involved in discussions over a replacement sponsor in the automotive industry. Opel first partnered with Dortmund in 2012, expanding that deal to become official sleeve sponsor in 2017. Post-pandemic, the deals with other German clubs have also been allowed to lapse, allowing Dortmund as Opel's final remaining football partnership. Still talking sports business at this time, Real Madrid has signed a $381 million deal with investment group 6th Street and entertainment experiences company Legends to host concerts and other events at the La Liga club's 81,000-seat stadium. The capital will allow Real Madrid to create additional streams of revenue as it works to alleviate financial losses caused by the pandemic. In 2020, Real Madrid saw its income fall by 8% compared to the previous year, but the club remains the second most valuable football team in the world at $4.75 billion, just behind La Liga rival Barcelona at $4.76 billion. A new company will also manage the stadium and proceeds from its events, as the proceeds will be split 70% for Real Madrid and 30% for 6th Street. The deal will run for 20 years. Now, a deal between the 3 entities comes as no surprise because Legends had led Real Madrid's retail strategy since 2020, while a year later, 6th Street acquired a majority stake in Legends, valuing the company at $1.35 billion. In January, Legends and Real Madrid agreed to a 25-year pact to host non-sporting events at Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, the club's home field since 1947. Now, still talking sports business at this time, a coalition of human rights organizations led by Amnesty International are reportedly demanding that FIFA provide at least $440 million to migrant workers who helped with the 2022 Men's World Cup infrastructure. The sum is based on the prize pool FIFA plans to award successful teams during this winter's tournament. Quote, hundreds of thousands of migrant workers have not received adequate remedy, including financial compensation for serious labor abuses they suffered, end of quote, read a letter sent to FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Secretary General of Amnesty International Agnes Callamard reportedly said that accepting the plan could represent a major turning point in FIFA's commitment to respect human rights. Now, Amnesty International said workers have endured ridiculously long hours and dangerous working conditions. The letter claims that in the last decade or so, Qatari officials failed to investigate how thousands of workers perished. Both FIFA and Qatar's Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy are considering the proposal. FIFA has also pointed to previous reforms that have been made. I'll wrap up sports business news at this time with a bit of German football. The German Football League has secured a 4-year extension with pay TV provider Sky Mexico for their Bundesliga broadcast partnership. Now, the renewal kicks in from the start of the 2022 to 2023 season, and the contract will see every Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2 matches broadcast via Sky Mexico's platforms, as well as the German Super Cup and relegation playoffs.